Hey guys, mulltiy here. Today I want to talk with you about the new upcoming hardcore servers, and I want to go over with you, for me, the best classes for the leveling process in hardcore. You also can see here the retail classes, but they for sure don't matter. We just go over the classic classes for sure. It's focused on the leveling process. Maybe I also will tell you one or two sentences about the late game, and I also will focus on the normal hardcore mode, not the self-found, but maybe I can also say one or two sentences about the self-found mode. We hop over it like this, and maybe then later on we will change things inside of the tier list, however it's going. So let's start. We start with Rogue. I think last time I had Rogue in S tier. This time I will only put it into the A tier. Why? Because Rogue is definitely strong in hardcore. Don't get me wrong, A tier is not bad. He has good escape mechanics with Vanish, with Blind, whatever, with all their stuns, Sprint, whatever. But at the end of the day, you are melee. You're not really tanky. Not really tanky. And yeah, you also have some hard quests to do, especially the class quest for the poisons. Is it level 20? Not sure if you can also do it more early, but it's around level 20. So that can lead to some deaths at the end of the day. So overall, I think Rogue is strong, but some outliers. So on a Rogue player, Rogue is strong. For a normal person that is usually just casually playing WoW and just changing classes however they fit, I think there's definitely one or two classes that could be more easy than Rogue in hardcore. Next one is Paladin. I think Paladin last time I had it in a B tier. This time I rank it even lower. Why? First of all, it's very, very boring to play in Classic, especially on the leveling process. What does it mean? You can lose your concentration and die just because of how bored you are. Then you maybe not focus on the gameplay or whatever, because you know, like, okay, I have to wait till my two-handed weapon making the next strike, whatever. And you are melee, which can always lead to a little bit of problems. And sure, you have disengage mechanics, like you have a stun, you have your bubble, but I think overall it's not so easy to disengage. And yeah, if you have your bubble on cooldown, you know what can happen. So overall, I think it may be the weakest class for hardcore. It can be played good, but especially because it's also so hard and long time that you have to, a long period of time that you have to level with Paladin, because it's definitely the slowest class to level. Yeah, I think it's kind of risky. Next one is Druid. I think Druid is pretty solid. It has kind of everything. So it could be also in the end of the A tier, but I think that is fine on the B tier, on the top of the B tier, I would say. It has everything that you need, like tankiness, stealth, heal, some CC, some range attacks, close, whatever. So you can do everything, and I think with Druid you can be definitely having a good time in hardcore. Next one is Priest. Priest is as well like Druid into the good B tier. You have a decent amount of CC, you have damage, range damage, everything is fine. I think what is the problem on Priest? There are some stronger caster specs, and what is the problem on caster specs? Usually they are kind of squishy. That means if whatever you make a mistake and you have maybe 2 or 3 mobs on you, it could be leading to a fast death. But played correctly, played smooth, I think you will be fine. Rogue, sorry that I forgot a little bit. Endgame Rogue, super strong in endgame. Druid, you know. Priest, best heal maybe. Paladin, very good tank heal, so whatever. Also here, what you have to focus on self-found is melee weapons, super important for rogue and for paladin. So paladin even has here no advantage. Druid and priest are a little bit more open what that means. Next one is hunter, and is for me the by far best class in hardcore. The hunter pet is super strong, very good tank. Yeah, you can get aggro from your hunter pet, but it's not like you have to make one shot or two and you have aggro. It's definitely very strong. Hunter overall super safe, big range. You have leather and later on even mail armor, so it's also not like that you are super squishy. Even from if somebody gets close to you, if a mob gets close to you, you have attacks that you can wing clip and whatever, that you can come away again. So overall very safe with your pet. If your pet does not die, the hunter can honestly not really die. So hunter for me by far the safest class. Later on in the late game, pretty decent DPS. There are definitely some better ones, but pretty decent. But I also think we will see a lot of hunter. And also what is good, you are not very dependent on anything. You don't need another you don't need super good weapons, whatever. If you have a good pet, everything is fine for you. Next one is Shaman. Shaman is for me as well in the B tier. It is a little bit similar to Druid, I would say. It gives you kind of everything: close combat, range combat, heal, tankiness because you can wear the mail. So everything is very well rounded. You don't have that much CC, but also not very less. So you're wearing a shield usually, I would say, or in most cases you wear a shield, or you can wear a shield, which gives you an extra tankiness. So right played, I think it could be very safe. There are better classes for sure, but I think Shaman is on a good spot for hardcore. Next one is Mage. For me, it could be also in the S tier, but definitely I think Hunter is much better, so I put Mage on the first place of the A tier. What is Mage missing? Not a lot. You have awesome mobility with blink and stuff like this. You have a lot of CC, Frost Nova, Sheep, slows with kind of everything that you use, whatever. But at the end of the day, what is the only difference? What makes Hunter better than Mage at the end of the day? Hunter has a pet, which can keep the aggro away from you, and also Hunter is more tanky. That means if for whatever reason you will make a mistake with Mage and you get maybe 2 or 3 hard hits from one or even more mobs, it can lead to a very fast death. If you don't have any shield up, any heal pod or anything ready, it can lead to a very fast death. So that means it is very strong. You can even AoE farm, which makes it maybe the fastest, even as again the fastest leveling class in hardcore by far. But one small mistake and everything is going south pretty fast. Late on in the late game, you will be loved, best caster in the game by far. I would say, yeah, later on Warlock's getting good as well, but by far portals, food, yeah, there's a lot of things that makes Mage pretty strong. Self-found is also pretty nice because you're not so dependent on gear like all the casters at the end of the day. The only thing that is important for you would be an early wand. Next one is Warrior, and last time I had Warrior the lowest, which would mean I would have C tier, but now I think I'm fine putting it into the end of the B tier. You could also argue like this, but I think that would be too harsh for Paladin putting into the F tier. Warrior gets stronger and stronger. That's the good thing. That means you are maybe that's not true, because you know at the start of the game you're very overpowered at all, because the mobs are doing nothing. But in general, I would say warrior is getting stronger and stronger with each level. You could also say this about other classes, but with warrior I think it's even more true. And also you're gear dependent. That could be a good and a bad thing. A very good thing if you have always gear for your level. That means at least you should go in the auction house getting a weapon for your level all the time, or if you play with shield, which I would not recommend, but you can do it, always a shield for your level. If you have a shield and a weapon for your level, you should be definitely fine. On self-found, that makes it a little bit hard. So pure self-found, I think I would rank warrior the lowest. If you don't know where you have to go for quests, where you have some vendors where you can maybe buy a good weapon for your level. But I think in normal hardcore, warrior is fine. You also have high hamstring, the fear, whatever. You get some tools where you can escape dangerous situation. You can put on the shield if you need a little bit of tankiness. You can in general you are pretty tanky, especially with then going into the 4Ds with the plate armor, whatever. So I think warrior is doing fine. It's a little bit better than I had it the last time ranked. My last ranking I think is like 6 months ago or something like this. So I will definitely rank it now higher than before, but still usually warrior is also like, if you're going into a situation, yes, you have some tools to get out. Hamstring is a single target thing. That means if you pull 3 or 4 mobs at the same time, it can lead to a pretty fast death, because you maybe are not able anymore to go out of this situation. And yeah, you have some tankiness, but it's also not like so crazy different to a druid or whatever. So think twice if you engage something with a warrior, but apart from this, you should be fine. Next one and last one is Warlock. Warlock is for me at the end of the A tier. I think the 3 classes before are definitely better than Warlock, but Warlock has a pet. It's not anywhere near that good than a Hunter, but it is a pet. It can help in various situations if you're very patient. It even can tank as the Void Walker, for example, or later on the I forgot the name, but in general they can tank, but they are much more worse than the Hunter. And that is also maybe the big difference between a Hunter and a Warlock. If the Warlock gets the aggro from a mob, from the pet, which happens always if you make a decent amount of damage, then you have much less tankiness than a Hunter. So you come much more often into these situations, and you have less survivability than a Hunter and less tankiness, which makes Warlock definitely much more worse than Hunter. But I also think Warlock has a lot of tools, single fear, the mass fear. I'm not sure how it's called again. Like I said, you have a pet, you have a health stone that you could have always ready at the end of the day. You have the life drain, so you have tools. You have a lot of tools, and your range with always gives you a little bit of advantage, I think, especially in hardcore, because if you also can see range, kind of range, and the only melee class, because it has so much CC survivability, is rogue. But then the other melee classes, they are a little bit harder in my opinion in hardcore. But yeah, that's it for this list, guys. You know, hardcore is starting on 21 of November. That's pretty exactly 1 week from today now. I hope everybody has fun, enjoy the leveling process, take your time, and good luck.